So for your Hangman game, the first thing that I'm going to have you do is open up your basic HTML file. We're going to change the title to Hangman. We're going to add in our script tags, so script and end script. And then we're going to file, save as, and name it Hangman. Make sure that you choose hypertext markup language, the HTML. I'm going to change my language settings to JavaScript so that my tags look a little bit different for you. Alright, so the Hangman game. The very first thing we need to do in the Hangman game is make an array of words to choose from. So we're going to make a word list that the game will pick randomly from. And we've done this a couple times. We're going to say create an array of words. And to do that, I'm going to say var words equals. And you can make your own word list. Your word list needs to be school appropriate. I'm going to make a rather long list right now for you to give you time to type yours. Notice how each of the words is surrounded in double quotation marks and how there is a comma between each one. So here I've got my completed list of words. I would say put in at least a minimum of 15. Again, they can be any words you want, but they need to be school appropriate. The next thing that we're going to do is pick a random word from this list. So when the game starts to execute, we need to pick a random word from the words array. And to do that, we're going to say var, and we're going to call this word. The word is the word that they're going to try to guess. And we're going to use our beautiful math.floor, math.random. We are going through the words list, and we are going to say math.floor, math.random. Remember to capitalize math. It is important. Times words, or word list, whatever you called it, dot length. You need to end that, and there you go. That picks the random word. The next thing we need to do is set up the answer array. So what this does is shows how many letters there are in the word. And we're going to do that using underscores. So the first thing we're going to do is create the answer array. And it is an array that is empty. So an empty array is going to have the open blocks like this with the square brackets. And then we are going to go through that array line by line and fill it with a blank for each word that exists in the word that we chose. So it looks like this. For var I equals 0, while that I, or the number of times we've gone through the list, is shorter than the length of the word we pick. So if it's a 5-letter word, it's going to go through this 5 times. We're going to add one each time we go through this list. We're going to do the curly braces. And for each one, we're going to go through the answer array. And for each instance, so each letter in that word, we're going to start out by setting it to that underscore. So to recap, we made a list of words. You could call this words or word list. And then we pick one random word from that list. We are going to show them how many letters they have to guess for the word by creating an answer array that's blank and then filling it with underscores or blank dash lines so that they can see how many letters it is they're trying to guess. The next thing we're going to do is create a variable that's going to tell us how many letters are left, and that's going to start out being equal to the full length of the word. So it's going to look like this. Var remaining letters equals the word we chose dot length. So it'll be the length of that word. So here's where we're going to get into the very main game loop. This is all just the setup to the game. The game loop, I want it to stand out a little bit. So I'm going to do those 2 forward slashes, and then I'm going to do some stars and say the main game loop. You could even do it all in caps to make it stand out. And I did some more stars. That's the way it sticks out in the code. Add some spaces here. I like to know where the main part of my game is when I'm working on one. So here's how this game goes. We're going to check to see first. We're going to run all of this code while there are letters left to be guessed. So there is no limit on how long they can take to guess this. They could play it forever and never guess the word. So it looks like while, oops, I have caps on. While there are letters left to be guessed. So this is our main loop. While remaining letters. So I'm going to be looking up at this variable that I made at the top is greater than 0. That means I still have letters to guess. We're going to put in some curly braces and press enter so they move down. So I have a curly brace here and one right here. The first thing we're always going to do is show the player their progress. We need to show them how many letters they've guessed. This will show them that first blank array where all the blanks pop up. So that looks like this. Alert answer array dot join. So we're going to join each of the letters or spaces, underscores, sorry, that we have right now with a space between them. If we don't put that space in, it looks like one big line on the screen. So we're going to alert and we're going to join that answer array, each letter in it with a space between it. So it's going to be a letter once we start playing and they've guessed, but in the beginning it's just going to be those underscores to show them how many letters are in their word. The next thing that we're going to do is get a guess from the player. So we're going to prompt the player to give us a guess. And we're going to create a variable right here, var guess equals, and we're going to use a new box. We've done the alert box before where it just pops up words, or tells us something, and we can press the OK button. But this is actually going to give them a prompt for them to respond to. So guess a letter or click cancel to stop playing. Now we're going to have to go through and check the guess that they sent to us. All of our letters, first of all, are lowercase letters, so if they type any uppercase, it's not going to ever guess them, and there's no way to check for that, and that's going to be one of your challenges. If they guess more than one letter, we're going to have to ask them to guess only one letter. So let's go through all the code to make that happen. So the first thing we're going to say is, if the guess is blank, so they guessed nothing, or they've clicked on the cancel button, that'll also give a null answer. So we will say if guess is equal to null. This is usually just going to be the case where they've clicked on that cancel button to get out. So if they've clicked on that to get out, we're going to exit the game loop. We're going to get out. There's a special way to do that. It's one word, break. If they've chosen that, it's going to pop them out and end the game. Now, if the guess is more than one letter or no letters, we're going to check that next. So we've made that guess variable, and we're saying if guess.length, this is a new one for you. Exclamation point equals equals means not. If that guess is not equal to 1, they do not have one single letter, we're going to alert them to guess a single letter only. By saying please enter a single letter. Now the last thing, this is a valid guess. If they have taken a valid guess, they haven't canceled or they haven't guessed more than 1 or 0 letters, then we're going to have to start checking to see if this letter is in the answer array. So is it one, or not answer array, sorry, if the guess matches the word that they've guessed. So here's what this looks like. The first thing that we do is say else. That's the only other case we're checking. We're going to update the game state with the guess. We're going to use a for loop to do this. We have to use a J this time. We already used the I up here. You can't use 2 in the same program. You have to give a new variable. J is the next one, and then K, and then L, then M, obviously. So we're going to say var J equals 0, while J is less than the word.length, so the length of the word. We're going to add J++, add 1 to J. And here's what we're checking. We have a lot of curly braces. So you should have curly braces right here now. Okay, if the letter they guessed is in the word at that point or index, so at this exact point in the word, we use the J to figure that out. So we're going to go through the word and we're going to say, let's say that they guessed the letter O. So we're going to go through the word and we're going to go to the first slot and we're going to say, okay, is the first letter in the word O? Because they guessed O. If it's not, we're going to go to the next one and then the next one until we find if it has or hasn't been, if that letter does exist in there. okay? So we're going through and we're going to say if that letter exists in the word, so that's equal to the guess that they had. So let's say it was O. We're going to update the answer array because they got one with the letter they guessed at that point or index, okay? So we want to know if they guessed the letter O and the word was fort and they guessed it, we want to fill that second space in the answer array with the letter O because they got it right. So then the answer array would spit out blank O blank blank, just like you were really playing Hangman. They would just write the word on the board or piece of paper. That looks like this. Answer array at that J, or that spot in the word, is going to be equal to the guess. And then they've used up a guess. So we need to subtract, if I could spell, subtract 1 from remaining letters. They now only have, if it was a 4-letter word and they got one right, 1 left to guess. We can do this very easily by saying remaining letters minus minus. That means it's the same thing as saying remaining letters equals remaining letters minus 1, or subtracting from it. So we have 4 curly braces going down here. The end of the game loop is right here. That's the end of the main game loop. It's all done now. After they have guessed, if they got it correct, which they can only get it correct or cancel here, we're just going to alert them and tell them good job. So what we need to do is throw together that word with spaces in between it. So we're going to say, let player know the word that was the secret word, or just say know the word, and that is alert. And we're going to say answer array dot join, and we're going to join each letter with a space in between it. And I forgot the end of that curl. There we go. Then we're going to congratulate the player with an alert and say good job. The answer was in a space and plus the word that they were trying to guess that whole time. Okay? Seems like a lot of code. It's not too bad. I'm going to save this. Until you've written the whole thing, it isn't going to work, so don't even try. When you have saved it, you're going to go into the folder and you're going to open the Hangman, and it should pop up this. So mine gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I zoom in so you can see this better. Even if I zoom in, you can't see that. Let me use I don't have the zoom tool going. Darn. If you look here, there's the space in between each of those lines. So it's asking me to guess. Oh, I spelled cancel wrong. Good, I need to go fix that. Guess a letter or click cancel to stop playing. So I'm going to guess the letter A and say okay. A is not in there because it didn't update. How about E? It filled that space right there with an E. So now I know I've guessed this one correctly, and here's what I have left to guess. Click OK. Let's do a T. Ooh, got a T right there. H. Nope. S? Nope. Oh, what is this word? I'm going to look at my list because otherwise this is going to take a really long time. Oh, it's a number. Let's try S. Nope. Y. Yup. And F. There's no P. M. I-E-T-Y. Where's the Y's? 90. Okay. I just don't want to waste your time. The letter N. Okay, so 90 was the word. It filled in those two last spots. And it says, good job, the answer was 90. And that's the end of the game. If you want to play again, you have to refresh.